Hello and welcome to another Lord of the Rings Rise to War video. I'm the player who plays as the King Under the Mountain, and today we are going to be going through another season update review. A lot has changed. I am like Shady. I am now unranked in farming. I've even gone through my first uproot of 2.5. I've managed to do something that I've never actually done before, and I will show it. I have got my own battle marker though, which I'm quite proud of secretly. We're going to go through what's been happening in the map. We're going to go through the general sort of consensus of what's going on. We'll go through the leaderboards. I'm going to show you a lot of battle reports because I'm really proud of a couple of them. And then at the end, I'm going to put Tartar in here because it's one of the things that annoys me most. If you've got that much resource that you can just hire eagles all the time, don't use skill. But we're going to go through that at the end anyway. So, let's start with what day of the season we're on, because that's always a nice place to start. We are on Chapter 11. Dol Guldur has not been occupied. It is currently surrounded. Neither team is going for it, and I can categorically say we are nowhere near it. So, we are on day 28. Feels like a lifetime, to be honest, but day 28. So, here we go. Leaderboards. Personal affluence. Mavius has farmed Middle-earth further. I mean, even my 8 and 9 tiles are getting eaten at the minute. But yeah, I dropped from about 55,000 affluence to 34,000 yesterday. And I've actually got some of that back. So most of my production was in Cardaland. And it has been eaten by the hunking bear, as I like to call him. Bonuses, though, the one that really matters. I am up to number 8 in the merit leaderboard. I would like to think I'm going to try and get a bit higher. I'd like to try and finish the season in the top 5, if I'm being honest. That'd be nice, but I'll probably need a higher level of production from that. I've paid the horrendous fee this morning of 2.6-ish million resources to get back in the game, really, because I got uprooted last night when I went to sleep. So, yeah, a lot of resource. It kind of hurt. I couldn't actually move in time. I probably needed about another 3 hours before I could relocate, so never mind. Anyway, Fellowship affluence. So Hunk and Bear, as they've been pretty much left alone for 2 or 3 days, have grown substantially in affluence. We have dropped substantially in affluence. So our kingdom now, the Order and Toby Kingdom, both at 3.5, still respectable to be honest, but we are very much out-resourced at this stage. You have Lame at 4.1, and you have Gods at 3.5. Then you have Nikita, Hellfire, Food, and also Crow's Nest. And the Donuts. Let's give them a mention. I can't not mention this. Whoever John Zolt is, doing a great job of smashing things around in the DMDs. So there you go. So that's kind of the main fellowships, and it has very much been a very 2v1. I'd say 2v1, 2v2. I can't not say 2v2. That would be the wrong thing to say. 17v2, whatever you want to call it. As Nikita and Food are very loosely fighting Hunk in the south. Not to the same level of success as what Lame and Gods are doing in the north. But anyway, that's a different story. So, Hunk and Bear and Lame and Gods have not touched each other at all so far this season. That is just the way it is currently. I'm sure they will soon as they are setting up around Dol Guldur. However, let's go into the map. So, map-wise, this is where we're at, and this is my battle pin. I'm very pleased with this. So this is where my base was yesterday. This is all me, and yes, I came out on top. Did I get uprooted in the end? Yes, I did. However, it is what it is. But this is my battle marker. I've never created a battle marker in however many seasons I've been playing this game. So I'm pretty happy about that. And I'm going to just very loosely talk through my defense, I suppose. Is probably the best way. But I'll go through the actual battle pins first. So I was part of a small squad that was trying to slow down Hunk and Bear. There was only 15 or 16 of us. They have progressed quite nicely. Our main focus now is in this northern area, so we're fighting Lame a lot more. So you'll see there's a fairly decent battle pin. There's also a decent battle pin here. This pin was defending this pass I think we did successfully defend it once, and it just goes to show you how hard passes are to actually take, because I'm pretty sure there's about 10 of us here, and we defended it at least once, possibly twice from Bear. So that was pretty cool. Honk and Food in a pin there, so like I say, there is definitely some action knocking around. Bear, Nicky, and Honk down here. So there is a little bit of action to help us out around the map. I'm not going to say there isn't, because there is. There are a lot of small battle pins as Honk and Bear kind of progress. There is a very much a dynamic shift here of we're kind of being eaten from this direction. We're trying to push this way. It's just whether we're quick enough to push this way before we just get eaten and wipe back into the Blue Mountains, where we will sit and rest and farm for the rest of our season, I would suspect. However, I cannot say that Honk, Bear, Lame, and Gods have not played well, because they really have. So that's kind of the map. I mean, there is actually a pin over here, which I've not seen happen yet. So something's obviously gone over here where things are starting to happen. So that's quite nice. Nice to see some pins somewhere else on the map. Anyway, my battle pin. So basically, as you can see there, this is where my settlement was, and that was my pin. So I was surrounded by a bank of 3 tiles all the way around, which gave me a 15-minute buffer. So as long as I could either kill the army or draw, there was no possible way of them getting towards my keep. At one stage, there was 3 or 4 armies here, so what I did was I actually tiled around the back of them, and then basically blocked them in, and then took them out by sort of camping behind my keep here. And then as they attack one by one or use stamina, I would take them out or draw with them, and then draw back in, drop my troops that were left, come back out here, do the same again. They had to use a lot of stamina on me in the end, and like I say, it was a pretty decent battle pin. I got some really good fights in. So yeah, and then obviously using eagles as well to take out any sieges they were coming through from here. So it took them a long time to get rid of me, probably 5-6 hours. But it was a lot of fun, actually, to be honest. Probably the most fun I've had for a little while in a season. So that was good. As you can see, my tiles are still being taken even now. So I am dropping down the tile rankings very fast. I am trying to replenish tiles as fast as I can. However, I'm not quite managing that right now. So that's kind of where we're at with the map. I suspect some action will come back to the centre soon. I'll just zoom in on Dol Guldur. It is starting to build up a little bit between Lame in particular, actually, here. But it doesn't look like Honk and Bear have actually come to the centre yet. Maybe they're trying to avoid the DG Jinx, but there is one very heavy ring one. And like I say, all these forts are pretty much untouched. I don't think it's been declared an official alliance between the two yet. I know there was talk in World Chat of it last night. But I don't think it was classed as official. I think someone just said it and then very quickly kind of reneged and went back saying, no, it's not an official alliance, and that kind of stuff. All the good stuff, you know how it works. Commander level-wise, we did reach level 50. We got there a little bit earlier. We got there on Sunday, I think. And I've got a couple of 45s left. I have... the rest are at 40, really, to be perfectly honest. That's kind of where we're at. I have not done any changes to my gear. Yes, I am still losing tiles in the background. Thank you, Patrick, for that one. So, where was I at? Reports was pretty much what I wanted to go into today. That was kind of my main focus. And I wanted to talk about one of the differences that I found between... I don't want to say it's definitely a thing, because I don't know if it is or it isn't. But I want to know if there is a kingdom buff in the background of these reports. Because this is when our land actually got cut off and we were neutral. Now, what I found while this happened was that it very much seemed like I was getting hammered more than normal. So if we have a look through some of these reports... I expect to lose to Wolfie, so I wasn't too displeased with this one. Wolfie's got a great formation, to be honest. I haven't fought Wolfie for a few days, but what basically happened was, while we were disconnected, because from memory, Food had Bree, so our kingdom got disconnected from our west side to our east side by Honk taking a pass. And as soon as it happened, my results just got awful for like a couple of days. Well, not for a couple of days, for about a day until we actually reconnected the kingdom again. And then if I start looking at some of the bottom results that I've had, in comparison, it's just like stupidly good. So I'm just going to keep flicking through these reports. There is a lot of them, okay? And it's just to show that reality is I have Dane that's, a Kraken level Dane. And then everything else in my formation is kind of at whale level, I would say. Gear, you could argue that is probably somewhere near Kraken level. But I miss out on a lot of Zenith levels and things like that against a lot of people. And it's more just to sort of say, I think the build that I use with the sort of double tank does work very well for me. I was really pleased with this against 57. I've beat him a couple of times, actually. So I'm just going to flick through these reports quite quickly today because there's a lot of them. 57 played with us for a season or so. A really good guy. So Aceman's always good to fight. It's been a long time since I fought Aceman. Uses his Isildur well. His Isildur in 1.0 is really nice. Really, really good Gil. Gil with March Wardens I found really hard to kill this season so far. But a really nice formation from him. I was still at level 49 at this point, so this must have been a few days ago. Then we have Dobby Free Barlin. And I struggle with this guy as well. He kind of flies around a lot with a lot of eagles, which can be a little bit annoying at the best times, mainly when you can't afford to do the eagles like me. And then what was this one here? So this is actually really nice classic piece for Saruman with plus 12% focus damage. So it's quite interesting that. Not sure how his damage normally sits out, but 130k, very respectable. This was a little stack. I was quite happy with this. I'm going through people here quite nicely. This was good. I was pretty happy with that. I never normally get through a stack, so I was quite happy with that. This was going for Mavius's camp. I was so annoyed, but what I will say is, to Dobby, this is one of the best pieces of play that I've seen for a little while from someone. And what happened was, I lined up Mavius's camp. I knew his main was low. I knew I beat his B team. And Dobby actually came across and guarded with about 3 seconds to go, which was really, really irritating. Otherwise, I would have took Mavius down, which would have been quite nice. Always sets up a camp right at the front. It's almost like, I'm not saying it's an arrogant move, but it's always right at the front. You just kind of like have to try and take it down. I had a similar situation with Jabba the other day where I would have got to Jabba if it wasn't for those pesky kids defending you, Jabba. Anyway, Reign Zero, great way of using a Theoden. Really cool Theoden. Again, Z6 Sauron. Nice Scalhelm too from memory. Yeah, Z7 Scalhelm with full refine unique. And then Daddy Dane, of course. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with these kind of results. Again, I'm using smalls, so he's got the counter buff into his DDs. Pretty solid that. I think he was actually part of the team that did uproot me last night while I was sleeping. Any fight versus Jabba is a good fight. But this is where he went a little bit wild on his units. He seems to have had, mainly because I think they haven't had a great deal of PvP bar in a few days. They've kind of been experimenting with units quite a bit. While we've been sort of running around the map, going from left to right, chasing lame, then chasing Honk and Bear, and then going back to chasing lame, and they've kind of been able to do snaggers and all sorts of stuff. So, good merit there. Thank you, Jabba. And in all these fights, as you can see, Dane's done a consistent amount of damage. Again, I know people say, "Oh, Dane's no good anymore." Blah 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 blah. Yeah, it's consistent for me, so it is what it is. Really nice formation from Honor. I fought Honor a long time ago, so it's nice to see. Nice to see that he's still going in the game as well. Again, Daddy Dane, 155k damage. Hero's always hard to hit, and he uses King of Men very well. Z3 King of Men. Gandalf the White, very, very nice Gandalf the White. Daddy Dane, respect 10 Daddy Dane, still putting out nearly 90k, and then Sauron with Swans. I still haven't trained a Swan Knight all season. And I still don't even have any of my barracks for training a tier 4 troop because I just haven't been able to afford it. So I prefer troops over buildings, it seems, these days. So Patrick, always a good person to fight as well. That's the dog in the background. Don't know what the dog's doing. Patrick's got a really nice formation. 1.0, his Gil was horrible. And he's Gandalf the White from memory. A Z11 Gandalf the White. Also horrible. Respect Ambjorn. Again, Daddy Dane putting out the damage. Even with that counter buff. Blazing Pandisma has had a few goes at fighting me. Did very well in the fight last night. But apart from that, I've kind of always come out on top, which I'm pretty happy about, really. Again, you know, using tier 2s. I've been using tier 2s most of the season just because they're easy to keep my barracks full. Woes is on Gandalf the White is an interesting one, so I'd love to hear more about that, to be honest. I mean, look, we've got a lot here. So we're going to keep flicking through. We have Prezon Bear. I always struggle with Prezon Bear. Again, Swans, so, you know, I do kind of struggle versus Swan builds. I just can't afford to build them, is the difference. Yes, I build Trolls, and I accept that I tend to get the counter buff from Trolls, and my Sauron's slow. Mainly because everyone runs medium, so my tank lasts longer, yada, 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 etc., etc. But, yeah, I always struggle with Prezon. So while the few fights by Dane has failed me somewhat, but the good thing is whenever one fails, the other tends to pick up the slack, which is quite nice. Probably the fight I'm most proud of this season, and this was defending my base yesterday. So I'm just going to admire this report just for a few seconds, because I don't think many people have beat this guy this season. Swans on a very nice looking Sauron. Chariot on a really nice looking Bjorn. Z6 Gandalf the White. Nice gear too, although might set on Gandalf the White I'm not entirely convinced by, but there you go. Z6 Gandalf the White. And of course, more chariots on Saruman. Now, without even having to do any counting, I can categorically say I've won the resource sort of thing here. Interesting running agility on Saruman, something that I'd like to do before season end, just to test it. But I was pretty proud of this one. This was during my base defense yesterday, and probably the pick of all my results all season. Really happy with that. I admit that I knew he was using chariots, and I did change to guardians, but that's just good play, right? So there we go. Really happy with that. And then this was all during the base defense as well. There was plenty of reports, but Apollo I always struggle with. But I was happy with this because I actually got rid of the entirety of this one night. The good thing is I actually have a B team which will take down someone if needs be, if they're sort of half health, even if they're a Kraken. So quite hard to displace me if you come at me with 1 to 2 teams, because I'll sort of always try and defend myself. Hit Glorf a few times yesterday. I was quite impressed with these as well. I went for a stage last night when I was in base defense that realistically everything went well. And I fought Glorf a couple of times, got Glorf back. Beat 57 again. I know we went for his gear earlier on. Couldn't quite kill him off in the draw, sadly. And then we're back to Glorf again. And we'll have a little look at that. Even better result really this time than last time, I would say. Mainly because of the troops that I've got left alive. So that was a really, really nice resource win. In the end, obviously, like I say, I did get taken down. This was the report I wanted to talk about, because this is just, I mean, come on. If you're going to try and snipe on a road, please, please, for the love of God, if you've got so many resources that you can afford to do something like this, please, if you don't use Gil, point 1, because he has got no synergy with Eagles. Okay, same as Falcon, really. To be honest, no synergy with Eagles. But any of these people have got no synergy with Eagles whatsoever. Like, if they've got skills that affect elves, don't stick them on Eagles. Like, just don't do it. That's kind of my point. But if you are gonna do it, okay, at least reskill into something like the Stun and Alliance Leader. Just don't waste resource like this. This hurts my eyes, right? Don't get it. Honestly, don't get it. But there you go. So it's like with this, really. I mean, surely those points would be better in there, because you'd get damage then from the rest of your formation rather than your paper-built Gandalf the White. So this report really infuriated me. And I know Tart said, "Oh, you're going to put it in a video," and I am, because this is literally a waste of resource right there. Well done for being able to afford that waste of resource, but that's silly. And on that note, that's pretty much everything I wanted to talk about today. Here is Del Goldo, which I very much doubt I will see. I am one tile further to getting back in the rankings. Go me. We'll just take another tile while we're there, using this lovely search function. Who's this? A lame tile. Nice. I don't think I've taken a lame tile all season, so I'm looking forward to that. And that's kind of everything, really. I've just set up some nice new workshops, which are doing me a good job. I've got 2,700 grain from that one, 2,600 from that one, 2,300 from that one, and 1,400 from this one. But they will go up because I haven't actually developed some of the land around it yet. So, yeah, no, I'm pretty happy with that, really, to be honest. I could potentially just stick one on the end here as well and probably still make a decent workshop out of it. So I might just do that as well. And then we'll yield boost everything, and away we go. So, yeah, thanks for listening in. As always in these things, if in doubt, always follow your nose.